Yes guys, welcome back to another video and welcome to the BMW M235 xDrive Gran Coupe. Today I've been invited by BMW to test drive three cars that I've selected. That's this, the M235 xDrive Gran Coupe, the Mini Electric JCW, and the Mini JCW, so stay tuned for those. But keeping the focus on this, as mentioned, is the M235. It's got a B48 engine in it, and it has around 300 horsepower and 400 Newton meters of torque. Now, in terms of the M models, we have the big boy M2, but in terms of an M Lite, we have this, the M235 xDrive Gran Coupe, and we also have the M240i xDrive, which is a coupe. So why this is called a Gran Coupe and not a saloon, I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments. But one thing I can tell you is that although this is not a coupe, with it having 5 doors, or 4, depending on what country you live in, the boot size isn't the greatest. Now, it's not small by any means. It's not small, but this area here, just this area here, in terms of loading and unloading, isn't the greatest. You've got this bit here due to the design. I'm not really a fan of that. And in terms of space in the rear, it's not the greatest. If you're 5'11", you can just about make it in here. I've set the driver's seat in my position, and foot space is right under the seat. Knee space, I'm touching. If I try and close my legs, it feels uncomfortable. You know why? But yeah, I wouldn't want to be in the back of this car for too long. And if we had a baby seat in the back here, you can imagine the sort of marks you're going to be getting on the back of your chair. But it gets better. And although this is just the 2 Series as mentioned, look at that. We've got a sunroof in here. These seats are uber comfortable. Haven't done many miles in them, but it's the same seats that I had in the M440i xDrive. So I kind of know this car in and out because I have had that car quite recently. And everything looks very, very familiar. More familiar to the 1 Series, the new F70. But that aside, the cabin is definitely a very pretty thing to look at. Not necessarily in the back to live in. Okay. So, we are right into sports mode. And first thing to note is that this car, for a 2-litre, is quick enough for the roads. Now, I know it's not the M240i with the B58 that we all know and love. However, this is that happy medium. You want something fast, you don't want something too fast. And in terms of an M Lite, you don't want the M340i or the M440i. You want something a bit smaller, then this would be it. 2 litres of pure fun is definitely attainable in this car. Now, when we press the My Modes button down here, we're greeted with just 3 options. We've got personal, sport and efficient, and of course within personal, which is the fancy new name for comfort, you can just drive around like you do, put the gearbox back into drive, and everything is nice and quiet, everything is nice and smooth, but things are still a tad bit firmer than I'd expect. Now, when you do go back into sport mode, you now have options and you can change your sports mode. The only thing you can change is throttle response, which is the drivetrain, and of course the driving dynamics, which is your traction control and the steering feel. Nothing else in terms of gearbox speed or suspension, which is a shame because, like I said, a car worth a 40 grand needs to have these things, in my opinion. But when you push on, everything about this car just screams 1 Series. It's little brother, so it would be very similar. Although it's a Gran Coupe, this feels a very, very 1 Series. I don't want to use the word confused, but it's a very confusing car. Gran Coupe sounds like you're going to have loads of space. And up front, I don't notice anything because I'm driving the car. But in the rear, where I stand at 5'11", as mentioned, I think that it could just be a tiny bit too small for most people. If you do want something bigger, the 3 is there, the 4 is there, probably the 3 because that comes, of course, as a saloon. You're paying for extra space, but are you getting the extra space? Not taking anything away from this car, it's a nice car. Looks, does what it says on the tin. It's modern. You get all of these new fancy features. The steering wheel is great. Again, you got the frameless doors, because at the end of the day, this car definitely appeals to somebody, and that person will be happy to know that this car actually weighs less than the G42 M240i. It actually is shorter than the M240i, and unfortunately it doesn't have as big a tank. I believe this has around 49 or 47 litres, and the M240i has around 52. As I said, it's very confusing in here. Something that I do quite like now is that they've got rid of the ZF8, which is a great gearbox, probably one of the best that BMW have ever made, and this brand has put in the DCT. This is now a 7-speed, and one thing I like is when you are in your sports mode and just sending it, it keeps it in gear. That's third, top of third, and it won't change. You get a few pops and crackles out the back, but other than that, it lets you drive this car, which is what you want to do if you're paying 40 grand for it. Now, I like to leave it just in its S mode, because it's probably smarter than me, knowing when to downshift. There you go. And the shifts, the little kick, the little DCT kangaroo kick is plenty fun. So early impressions of the car aren't the greatest. However, in this Brooklyn grey paintwork, paired with all of these M performance style goodies, you've got the lower sill there in black. Round the back, you've got the spoiler here. They're now putting all of the models on the side here, on the rear. It's not a bad looking car by any means. The rear of the car though, it is very similar to the 1 Series, of course, but you can see here now, these M-Lite models now get the quad tips, and for some reason, can anyone else see the A-Class Saloon in the rear here? Very boxy, but nice. So yes guys, that has been my first impressions and first drive of the new M235, I'm not going to say it, xDrive Gran Coupe. Let me know in the comments whether you'd shortlist this car, whether it's a car you're definitely interested in. As mentioned, I will probably try and get the car back on the channel at a later time to live with it and give you a more in-depth review. But for now guys, that has been the video. If you have enjoyed it, smash the thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll see all of your beautiful faces and your beautiful face, love. Go on, love. Come on, love. What are they doing? Oh, go on, mate. It's all right. Look at them. Oh, look at that couple. 70 years old probably, still going strong. Driving that little Honda Jazz. They definitely need one of these, because then she could just flick it in sport and say, Barry, hold on, love, and send it. Take care. And God bless. What a car. When moving, it's a good little car. Just get used to moving by yourself.